Okay. Did you give the host back to?
Let me give the host back to Kate. Kate, right?
I don't really want it.
Oh, to me.
You? Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta figure out things to say. I'm not sure I can be asked to push buttons and rub my stomach at the same time.
No, but the president doesn't need to bother herself with those things. But is Alma, aren't you going to be running it?
No.
Yes.
I'm getting some assistance from Tom. I had some technical difficulties, but I'm here as well.
Okay. All right. Well, let's rock and roll.
We are recording.
Marvelous. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And we will do the Pledge of Allegiance and the salute to the New Mexico flag in English and in Spanish, as well as the acknowledgement of tribal land. And I just want to let board members and everyone know, I was thinking that we would do a moment of silence and say a few words about the current situation in our country under board announcements when we are back in the regular meeting, and maybe even have a couple people tuning in at that point. So for now, we'll just do the Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the New Mexico flag in English and in Spanish. Is anyone feeling inspired to lead the pledge?
I can do it in English. This
Please
is
go
Sarah.
ahead. Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll go for my Spanish, hoping it doesn't hurt anybody's ears. Juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos.
I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Saludo la bandera del Estado de Nuevo México, el símbolo Zia de amistad perfecta entre culturas unidas.
We acknowledge the original people of the land, the Tesuque Pueblo people and other tribal nations, and ask them to walk with us today as we share and learn together.
Thank you very much, Board Member Bose. Moving on to approval of the agenda. If there are no changes, if we could have a motion.
I move to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez.
This is Sarah. I will second that.
Thank you very much. We'll do a roll call vote on the agenda. Vice President Price?
Yes.
Secretary Garcia has texted that he'll join us in executive session. Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Board Member Bose?
Yes.
And the president votes yes. So we have approved the agenda. Now, moving into executive session, would someone be willing to make a motion that we'll be discussing the items listed on the agenda and to take us into executive session in Secretary Garcia's absence?
I'll do it.
You're getting good at it.
I don't know what I'm doing. I move that we move into executive session where we'll be discussing threatened or pending litigation. And MSA 1978-10-15-1H7. I don't know if I'm supposed to say all that, but that's.
It doesn't hurt. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Vice President Price. And we'll do a roll call vote on going into executive session.
Madam President, I think she just need to say what we're discussing,
Okay,
don't we? Don't we, or we just have to just say the pending litigation and just have it announced? I can't remember now.
Yeah, she did that.
No, but it's the, what are we discussing? I don't know if we need to or not. I don't remember. Sorry, is Josh, are you watching?
I don't have a clue.
I don't remember, Madam President. I'm sorry.
I'll go ahead and amend it to include the Hill tort claim and the El Castillo retirement residences payment in lieu of taxes.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Okay, and a roll call vote on going into executive session. Board Member Bozay,
Yes?
Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes?
Vice President Price,
Yes.
and the president votes yes. So we will return right around 5:30. And for now, everybody log out of Zoom and log into the other thing for our executive session, please. See you over there.
Lucy's my baby. She's a school member. Say hello. Hello. Hi. Hello.
Paige.
Hey, Carmen. It's kind of a fun new way to do this.
Sort of. Sort of. I would have liked it to have happened after my first year.
Right.
Are you just here to watch or?
I think I'm on the agenda.
Oh, okay. What is it? Oh, yeah, you are. There you are.
Yeah, I wanted to verify with with Alma. I was like, really? So, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Garcia's texting that she can't get in.
I will resend, I'll get a hold of her and see if I can take care of that.
Thank you, Dr. Ryan. And my child picked this moment to try and make chocolate fondue, so that I think I've averted the fire danger. All right, we hope to have Dr. Garcia.
Hey, I just got off the phone with Dr. Garcia. She said she's having some computer issues, but she's logging on momentarily.
We have Dr. Gonzalez, we have Board Member Bose, and we have Secretary Garcia. Vice President Price, are you also with us? Not yet.
Board President Noble, did you hear what I said?
I did, yes, and she's been texting me. Thank you very much, David. Sarah's in the dark. And hello, Ms. Perea. You did get the word.
I did. Oh, how are you?
Excellent. Thank you for being with us.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Is there anybody available to check in with Vice President Price? She was on with us the first time, and it would be great to double. Ah, there's Dr. Garcia.
Yeah, I couldn't get in for some reason, but I'm
The
in.
hamster finally let you back on the wheel.
Hamster let me in.
Okay. And I was just saying, I was hoping somebody might check in with Vice President Price, because of course we did have her at the beginning of the meeting and for the executive session, but she does not seem to be with us now.
Ruth
You want me to
Williams,
check
if you can hear me, Ruth, will you please call Ms. Price?
I'm here.
Oh, she's here.
She's here. Excellent.
Yep.
Great news. Okay, so we are all here. We will go ahead and Secretary Garcia, do you want to bring us back from executive session, please? You there, Secretary Garcia? Dr. Gonzalez, would you be inclined to do the honors?
Sure. I move that we come back out of executive session where we discuss threatening or pending litigation. We discussed the Hill tort claim and El Castillo retirement residences payment in lieu of taxes.
And no action was taken.
No action was taken.
Thank you very much. There's a motion. I'll second. We'll go ahead and do a roll call. Vice President Price,
Yes.
Secretary Garcia,
Yes.
thank you. Board Member Bose,
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Yes.
and the president votes yes. Okay, we're back from executive session. Thank you very much. Moving on to the introduction of the interpreter. Dr. Garcia. You're muted. Can see your lips moving. You're still muted, or, yep, you still appear to be muted.
I unmuted myself, but for some reason the little arrow muted me again. Just wanted to note that we are having some difficulty with people being able to access the Zoom. So if you're a presenter tonight and you can see this on YouTube, you're gonna have to turn off your computer and restart it. That's what I had to do because I could not get back in. The link wouldn't let me. So we might have a few glitches today because of that. But anyway, what do I say here? I got it. Si tenemos algunos que necesitan un intérprete, por favor, pueden llamar este número. El doctor James Lujan está disponible esta noche. Por favor, llame 701-802-5152. El acceso número es 4277-932. Gracias.
Thank you very much. And I'm just scrolling through. We do have NEA Union President Grace Mayer with us. We're on to item 4 on the agenda, the union update. Welcome, Ms. Mayer.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Great. I have a couple of things to report and talk to the board about. We're excited and looking forward to, I believe, your approval of the addendum to the collective bargaining agreement that includes a few items that were negotiated recently for this year. And then we also have a bargaining session planned for tomorrow with the district. And we're looking forward to moving forward with a lot of the initiatives we had started a couple of years ago with in terms of just getting to a place with pay that's competitive for some of our lower wage earners, some of our ESPs and other individuals. So we're looking forward to resolution on that. And then also, of course, maintaining some 4% average for our other teachers and counselors on that one pay scale and other employees that we represent. There's also discussing and other things about changes to a few of our articles. And so we look forward to a productive session tomorrow and thank the board in advance for their approval of the addendum tonight. I want to also just reflect on some of the community educator network work that happened throughout the summer as an initiative by NEA Santa Fe as well to provide hands-on art materials and curriculum to the students of Santa Fe. And I'm really excited to tell you that we've handed out more than 16,000 pieces of materials and packets to our students. The cost to those individual organizations and to NEA was roughly about $35,000 to $40,000 that was spent. Those organizations were Audubon, the Museum of International Folk Art, the George O'Keeffe Museum, Math Amigos, Santa Fe Botanical Garden, Site Santa Fe, Office of Archaeological Studies, various museums of the state of New Mexico, NEA Santa Fe and NEA New Mexico STEM also gave us materials. This initiative has gone in two different directions, so we're really pleased that the Community Educator Network is preparing materials with the city that's going to help distribute at different sites. There's a partnership to even make more packets that are hands-on, fun, kind of exploratory things for kids in lieu of having the city camps that normally happen. So that started Monday, and that's being pushed out. There's also through the what is that organization now? Okay, I'm losing it, but we expanded also, and we're working with there it is, Office of Cultural Affairs and the museums and organizations associated with them to push it out statewide to our these packets and other materials throughout the summer. And we're going to different parts of New Mexico with these materials through that office and through the community schools that are in those different regions, Las Cruces and Roswell, Taos, and here in Santa Fe as well. So we're really excited that that took off, and we were really grateful for all the help that we received from those organizations. I wanted to touch on briefly some of the, obviously, the current events that are happening now throughout our country. And we want our students to know that we understand that this is difficult for them to process, given that we're also in this pandemic. They've lost, you know, some of their community, but in their schools, and that we want to know that we want them to know that we support them. We want to promote tolerance and peaceful assemblies and protests of what's happening. Some of these behaviors from our police department nationally are unacceptable, and we need to address, you know, systematic racism in every institution, and that includes public education as well. And so we want to work with our students and our staff to really shine a light on what it means to be a person of color and have to deal with some of that, especially in a state that's a state where a large majority of our students also live in poverty and have other conditions that are really need to be addressed. And I think that even though this is a you know, a heartbreaking kind of situation to find ourselves in, I think it's also an opportunity for us to address the true inequities that exist in our culture and in Santa Fe and in our public schools. And I'm hoping that our employees and our staff are up for the challenge of really trying to address those concerns and reach out to our students and our families who experience many of these unfortunate circumstances that have, you know, really made it difficult for them to imagine themselves in a greater world and in a better place. So I know that the superintendent and I touched briefly on this, and we'll probably be putting out some sort of statement, but I think that, you know, as an organization, we need to rally behind a lot of the young people who are part of this movement and embrace what their concerns are and listen to them, and to see how we can move forward in the future. I also know that Secretary Stewart put out a really beautiful statement around this issue and emphasized that education is a way to really change attitudes and policies that are discriminatory. So I'm hoping that we get to read that at some point. And I know that Board Member Price also wrote a op-ed regarding some of those, and she has certainly been a leader in our in Santa Fe regarding these issues on race, and I'd like to reach out to her to maybe also say a few words later about her op-ed and how we can sort of come together in these difficult times and really support each other and our students and our families. That's it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mayor. And as I think all the board members heard, the plan was to talk about this under board announcements, but certainly Vice President Price, if now feels like a good time. I don't know if you want to weigh in.
No, not at this time.
Okay, well, we'll be there in moments on the agenda anyway.
Are we up to public forum? Are we up to public forum?
We are now up to public forum. Dr. Garcia, Mr. Carl, are there anyone emailed for public forum?
Board President Noble, Superintendent Garcia, members of the board, we do have one individual who emailed in for public forum, and I will read that message now. It is from Stephen Tadelbaum. It says, "Greetings. I am writing this email to inform you you have the inappropriate actions of one of your employees that works with high school students with impressionable minds. This individual for 2 days in a row posted on my Facebook page responding to posts of mine that support the current protests and hashtag Black Lives Matter movement. Her comments and posts were very disrespectful, and she posted memes mocking the movement and making fun of people with mental disabilities, and in one post showed a helicopter flying in a bucket of fried chicken from KFC that said, quote, 'on my way to save Minneapolis,' unquote. This shows blatant racism and disrespect. I have made these posts public on my Facebook page for you to view. It is my opinion, along with many others that have engaged with her in her rampant arguing and hate speech, that she should not be working with children of any age, as she clearly shows no respect for people of color. While I respect that everyone is entitled to their opinion, I would think a public school employee would know better than to post racist candor. She directly threatened me and my friends, telling us to come to her house where she and her husband would be waiting for us with loaded guns. I live on the East Coast, so I see no immediate threat to myself or my friends, that we're only trying to educate her on how wrong her views are and to correct the false postings that she was making. These individuals blocked me on Facebook because no one was going to allow them to continue to post these hateful things. After being blocked by them, this individual, who was once a client of mine, continued to text me, threaten a Black woman that I consider to be family. This woman works with at-risk youth and found this individual's post to be appalling and shocking. This individual also kept sending me the message "I for an I." I am attaching, and there's an item attached, one of the messages this individual posted on my page, but can gladly send you screenshots from both threads that she commented on. Or you are welcome to just go onto my Facebook page and view them for yourself again. I made these posts public. I am willing to reach out to the governor and inform her of the type of person the Santa Fe Public School District has working for them. I implore you to take immediate action. You can find my Facebook page under Stephen Tadelbaum. I know that in these current times, emotions are running high and people are very stressed about work and health and life in general. However, there is never an excuse for racism or threatening people who don't agree with your opinion or views. In your hands, currently at your schools, are the future of America. Please do not let their minds be shaped by someone that is a known racist. As you can clearly see, she thinks making fun of someone's murder and race is funny. Please feel free to reach out to me for any questions or comments, or if you would like to have the screenshots, I can send you those at your request. And then this individual listed contact information as well. And that is it for public forum.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Carl, for bringing that to us.
Dr. Garcia? Dr. Garcia?
She's unmuting herself,
Yes, ma'am.
but she does seem to be paying attention, Vice President Price.
Okay. Would you follow up on this, please?
We already have. I was already aware of the
Okay.
situation, but as we were told, I just was informed by our general counsel that we really can't comment on it, and the board shouldn't either.
No, I'm not going to comment on it. I just wanted to know if you were aware of this.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to agenda item number 6, board announcements and follow-up. And I just want to start by asking for a moment of silence as we think about some of the recent names: George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and there are so many others, and the unrest that has plagued this country for about a week. And personally, I am hoping and praying that everybody stays safe tonight. But if we could just have a moment of silence for those we've lost and those we want to keep safe. Thank you all very much. Now, I know that everyone on this board and probably everybody in the district and on this team is thinking about our context in what's going on in our country right now and what we can do to make things different with our young people, with the Santa Fe Public Schools, and for the future, so we don't keep repeating these cycles. I want to invite anyone on the board who wants to say a few words to do that. And I want to start by thanking Vice President Price for raising her voice along with the former president of the Santa Fe chapter of the NAACP in the hour view that was submitted. And Vice President Price, I hope you will say a few words and share some thoughts with us to start with.
What I would like to do, I can't seem to be able to find it on the Santa Fe Reporter on my webpage. Can you call it up?
I'll do so now.
And would you be willing to read it, please?
Yes, absolutely. I had a hard copy of it. Oh, I can just get it out of my email. I did have the honor of reading this on Sunday evening, as Vice President Price was not able to be there physically, but we did have a vigil on Sunday evening at the Roundhouse, and I had the privilege of reading this then. Okay, I have it. I will read it now. And this is submitted by Lorraine Price, Vice President of the Santa Fe School Board, and the Reverend Dr. Wanda Ross Padilla, Holistic Life Coach and former President of the Santa Fe branch of the NAACP. Our view regarding George Floyd. The chokehold again. Why? To humiliate and oppress African Americans. Again, police officers have hurt, killed, and humiliated Black people and people of color by use of a chokehold. All of us, even our children, saw this live on our TVs. How can this be? Our children must be asking. All we can say in this moment in time is that this, apparently, is what they have been paid to do. Why the chokehold? The author, Paul Butler, of the acclaimed Chokehold, Policing Black Men, writes on how the system treats African Americans with contempt. If police patrolled white areas as they do poor Black neighborhoods, there would be a revolution, says Paul Butler. Hillary Clinton once asked a room full of white people to imagine how they would feel if police and judges treated them the way African Americans are treated. This is called empathy, which means the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, connecting with another person's pain and trying to understand how that person might be feeling. A great question which needs to be asked over and over again. We can no longer be silent about the injustice to Black people in this country. To continue to be silent is to be complicit. These continued incidents of racism are understandable based on the frustration with the police in Black communities all over this country. Many feel voiceless and helpless. Regarding the protesters, according to basketball coach in Minneapolis, Peter Olafaso, they are not thugs as described by the president. Olafaso says 95% of them were there for the right reason and 5% were looters who took advantage of the situation. With Officer Derek Chauvin's knee on Floyd's neck, this was a form of chokehold. What is a chokehold? It is a maneuver. There we go, sorry, my screen's changing. It just kicked me off of what I was reading. Here we go. What is a chokehold? It is a maneuver in which a person's neck is gripped in a way that restrains breathing. A person left in a chokehold for more than a few seconds can die, yet we know that the officer had his knee on Floyd's neck in a modified chokehold for 9 minutes. This was so crass, so cruel. The truth is, any human being will suffer distress when pressure is put on the carotid arteries. The former chief of Los Angeles Police Department, Daryl Gates, once suggested that there is something about the anatomy of African Americans that makes them especially susceptible to serious injury from chokeholds because their arteries do not open up as fast as arteries do on normal people. How racist can that statement be? While many police departments in the US have banned chokeholds, this does not stop some officers from using them when they perceive a threat. How could Floyd have been a threat, lying face down with handcuffs with a knee on his neck for 9 minutes? Representative Maxine Waters has said the now fired police officer who had his knee on Floyd's neck enjoyed what he was doing. Where do we go from here? We've got to deal with the fact that we are here in America with a justice system that does not work for everybody. We have got to come together to talk about what we are going to do, how we are going to do it, and as African Americans, how are we going to protect ourselves? As Tom Perez, chairman of the Democratic Party, writes, we will not heal as a nation through silence, but through justice, through progress, through activism and action. In closing, all America must claim and know that so long as Black men and women cannot breathe, we cannot rest, said Tom Perez. We totally agree. The time is now. These attacks and egregious actions have been made to invoke fear and disunity. As Tim Keller, mayor of Albuquerque, says, we must stand up against divisive rhetoric. We know this work does start with each one of us. We must stand together to have a peaceful, just, and equitable world. Submitted by Lorraine Price, Vice President of the School Board, and the Reverend Dr. Wanda Ross Padilla, Holistic Life Coach and former President of the Santa Fe branch of the NAACP.
Thank you. Thank you for finding that when I couldn't find it and for reading it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other comments from the board?
This is Sarah.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say, Madam President, Dr. Garcia, members of the board, Vice President Price, I especially wanted to thank you for those words. I read that on Sunday, and I really appreciate the time that you took and your wisdom and your leadership in this area. And I want to say unequivocally and loudly for everyone to hear that Black Lives Matter. And this is very important, and we have lots of work to do.
Thank you, Board
Thank
Member
you.
Bose.
President Noble, Dr. Garcia, I too want to thank Lorraine, Vice President Price. That was a really good anyway, I have just had a kind of a hard time all week. And I have a son in LA who's having a even harder time than I am because he's in lockdowns and all that. So I'm grateful I'm in Santa Fe, but we have a lot of work to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez.
I would like to add that what the president did yesterday was unconscionable. And for him to turn a militarized police force on people who were peacefully protesting so that he could walk and stand in front of St. John's Cathedral with a Bible in his hand made me physically ill.
Many other people too.
Yes, just when you think it can't get any worse.
Dr. Garcia? Yes.
Madam President, I don't know if any other board members wanted to say anything. If I could, because I do have a superintendent's update, but I'd rather comment on this now if that's all right with the president and the board.
Please.
Well, I mean, it's what we all witnessed is just unthinkable and horrific. And, you know, public education has never been more important in addressing systemic racism and addressing the opportunity gap. I believe that the Santa Fe Public Schools, in a variety of ways, both as a board and as a district, through the Superintendent's Equity Advisory, Superintendent's Equity Diversity Council, which is now, those things are mandated by the state, but that the board supported me in doing. We do have broad representation. The NAACP is represented, as well as the Office of African American Affairs, as well as the whole diversity of our district. And we need to continue that work. I think the resolution that the board passed in looking at reinvention through an equity lens, I think the board's action in Yazzie Martinez that looks at sufficient funding, that also helps us look at opportunity gaps, has helped spur what the state has done. And I want to thank the board for their leadership and continued support of those efforts. But now more than ever, public education, we have to fight for it, and we have to fight against the narrowing of the curriculum. That has, you know, under the veil of accountability, we have been systematically dismantling public education in our country and in our state with draconian methods that have pushed people out of public education and have pushed people with means to pursue private education, to get a broader educational program. And if we, as the curriculum narrows, there is less time spent on racial competence, on history, on civics, on government and critical thinking. And who we elect matters, from the Board of Education, you know, to every office. It matters, because we had a period of time in our state recently where we've been told that teaching kids about Rosa Parks or Manifest Destiny or other such items were not as important, right? the whole notion of what we test gets taught. But what's happened is we've lost a lot of these critical skills and the understanding and empathy for each other. And if we look at our guiding principles in our district and what we've done, we may want to come back and reaffirm that under a resolution of the core beliefs that we have. It may be in honor, the George Floyd resolution or whatever the board wants to name it, but reaffirm our core beliefs of what we have in our, not only our resolution on equity and reinvention, but also our resolution, our just core values and what we believe as a district. Because I know that I am very proud of being a part of this district that really, I feel truly celebrates our diversity and does its best to honor all human beings. And I'm proud of this board and proud to be a part of this district. But what has happened is not okay. I thank Ms. Mayor for reminding us that even though we're not in school, we need to reach out to our students, and we will do that to let them know that we support them and that we are here for them and for our staff. And that I want to remind everyone that we have to adhere to our code of ethics. Yes, we do have free speech, but that has to be balanced in terms of how we conduct ourselves as employees of this district, and our love for all of our community and respect. Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Price. That was an amazing piece. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. And I think I would imagine everyone on this board would like to figure out something we can do, say, reaffirm our commitment to our staff, our students and families in our community, that this is a place where Black Lives Matter and where equity and justice are constant pursuits guiding what we do. So I hope we will continue to talk about that and to think about ways that we can come up with really, good substantive ideas that we can really be very strong and clear on that. Okay, other comments, thoughts on this before we move on? Thank you all for your words. I think that's not Carmen raising a hand. That was just a flying hand. All right, thank you all for your words. Thank you, Vice President Price, for everything over the years and the continuing fight for justice and awareness and all that you've done for this community in that regard. Moving on to other board announcements and follow-up. Well, just as Dr. Garcia mentioned, before we get into the Excellent and Student Achievement Awards recipients, which is a lovely part of the agenda, for the thousands out there watching, there is still time to vote, and voting in local elections really, really matters. President Barack Obama also wrote a beautiful piece over the weekend and put that out about, in part, the importance of local elections. So if you haven't done it yet, please go to your polling place. You've got about 52 minutes, which hopefully is time enough to get there. And today is Election Day, which is a very important day, and it's an honor to be with you all on Election Day and talking about these things. Okay, the New Mexico School Boards Association has announced recipients of the 2020 Excellence in Student Achievement Awards. The awards, sponsored by NMSBA, are presented to individuals and selected by local boards of education through New Mexico who've played an important role in improving student achievement in the local school district. Throughout the state of New Mexico, 142 award recipients were selected. And in the Santa Fe Public Schools, we are pleased to announce the following Santa Fe Public School honorees. We have 9 of them, and I'll read a little bit about each one as we go. Elizabeth Bunker is a counselor at Pinon Elementary School. Said Sue O'Brien, Director of Student Wellness, Ms. Bunker is incredibly dedicated and goes to great lengths to find support for students and families. She's a longstanding counselor in the district and her staff communications are amazing. She stops at nothing to meet family needs, is supportive of her school counseling colleagues, and is a true advocate. Ms. Bunker is absolutely committed to her school community. She is an essential and inseparable part of the whole school community. Congratulations, Ms. Bunker. Thank you for your service. Applause.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Next is Janice Devoti, principal of Pinon Elementary School. A nearly 50-year education veteran, Ms. Devoti has worked for the Santa Fe Public Schools since August 1972. Same year Ms. Price moved to Santa Fe, if I'm not mistaken. As a teacher.
Yeah, I moved to New Mexico, yes.
Okay, moved to New Mexico in 1972, an important year. Ms. Devoti has worked for the Santa Fe Public Schools since August 1972 as a teacher and an administrator. She has been with Pinon for over 20 years and in 2015 received NMSBA Excellence for Student Achievement Award once before. Assistant Principal Danielle Argard said of her in a 2014 Santa Fe New Mexican interview, "She's always on your side. Her relations with the kids are amazing to watch. Usually her office is filled with kids during the day. She'll make parents feel valued and want to be a part of the school community while holding tough conversations with them about problems. Ms. Devoti's door is open all the time." Janice Devoti, thank you so much for your many long years of service. We appreciate and applaud you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I really want to receive this on behalf of my staff, the Pinon staff. It's been a long career, and I have to say that I have been truly blessed and honored to work with the very best. And that goes out to you too, Lorraine. Lorraine has been part of my life and was part of our school community, still is. And I applaud you for what you've done, Lorraine, and the leadership that you've given. And I won't take much time, but I also want to congratulate and acknowledge Elizabeth Bunker. She's not always orthodox, but I have to say that Elizabeth Bunker walks the talk. She is out there making a difference throughout all of this distance learning. Ms. Bunker has kept hours 7 days a week to make sure that all of our students as well as our families and teachers have been cared for. And in this time, with this very somber time, I have to say and honor Elizabeth because she truly is that change agent who is that change that we want to see in the world. And so to all of you, I want to say thank you, but also for the leadership, because each and every one of us can make a difference. And in this very volatile time for all of our students and our family, everyone is at risk. And so again, thank you for the leadership that everyone has shown, and congratulations, Bunker and Miss Price. Love you.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Michael Goudelet, Supervisor of the Central Support Center and Program Manager with the Technology and Digital Learning teams. In a May 11th, 2020 digital education blog in Education Week, Mr. Goudelet was among the district employees featured for manning help desks during the COVID-19 crisis. The blog called them an unsung cast that have allowed the immediate shift to online learning to be possible at all. It reported that call volume started increasing in mid-March when the district was on spring break and ballooned in the following 2-week stretch when professional development and then online instruction started. On a typical day in January, The help desk handled about 130 calls between 2 staffers. At peak volume during coronavirus closures, the district's help desk processed more than 1,400 calls in each of those first 2 weeks following spring break. Mr. Goudelet told Education Week, "We were able to monitor in real time what was coming in. We could see when principals were making the contact and getting a general idea for what was happening in each school. It better prepared us to know what was coming forward to the help desk." Mr. Goudelet, thank you so much for working so hard, and applause to you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very honored to receive it, and I am very grateful to work for such an amazing school district. I very much appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you. We so appreciate it. We know it hasn't been easy these last few weeks and now months, but we got to summer and we will count on you for the year ahead. Thanks.
I look forward to it.
Next is Jack Lane, principal of El Camino Real Academy. Mr. Lane is entering his 6th year as El Camino Real Academy's principal. He's taught for 20 years, 17 of those in New Mexico. He taught secondary studies and special education at Twin Buttes High School in Zuni and Cochiti Community School in Cochiti. In Santa Fe, he taught as an elementary bilingual teacher at E.J. Martinez and Sweeney Elementary Schools. He was also an assistant principal at Capitol High School. He learned Spanish while serving as a Peace Corps volunteer in Guatemala. He holds 2 master's degrees in social studies education from Teachers College at Columbia University and special education from George Washington University. In 2019, he was named Administrator of the Year by the New Mexico Music Educators Association. Congratulations, Principal Lane. Applause to you. I don't think he's with us, but we appreciate him all the same. Deborah Luke Skoll, teacher at El Dorado Community School. Ms. Luke Skoll is the teacher liaison for the El Dorado Community School Garden. She was hired to teach 1st grade at the El Dorado School the year the garden started. In the El Dorado Community Improvement Association newsletter, she said she views the garden as a wonderful transition learning space. It noted that students in the spring are in the garden composting, watering, worm and bug hunting, preparing seed starts in the greenhouse, and weeding, aided by a dedicated group of parent volunteers. By August, her 1st graders are in the garden harvesting the pumpkins they planted the previous spring when they were in kindergarten. She teaches them about the 3 sisters, corn, beans, and squash, along with sunflowers, the 4th sister. For many children, this is a first close encounter with plants and insects, one that often triggers a lifelong learning path. The article notes that school gardens have been found to impact children in profound ways. Ms. Luke Skoll, thank you so much for your service, and applause to you. Okay.
Hey, this is Jack. I'm
Hi,
sorry.
there you are.
I don't have my video on, but I just wanted to say thank you. And especially thank you to the school board and their vision for El Camino Real. Next year is a very special year for us. It's our 1st year. We'll be an all dual language school, which started back in 2013 as we've been rolling up. And I'm always grateful and think of Susan Duncan and her vision for our school, and also her family, Cam, who continues to support our school in so many ways. But anyway, thank you for this, and really thank you for all of you who have made El Camino Real what it is.
Thank you so much. Good to hear from you. Okay, next we have Sue O'Brien, Director of Student Wellness. Ms. O'Brien leads the Office of Student Wellness, which supports developing mindfulness around social emotional health and development, reducing risky behaviors while students are taught necessary academic, career, and personal and social skills. She is an ever-present source of comfort, ensuring support in the event of the untimely loss of a child or staff member, giving voice to the needs of vulnerable students. forging partnerships with the community so that we're working together to create a strong, healthy Santa Fe for our children and families, and striving to ensure that students and parents know that they are honored, valued, respected, and welcomed at our schools. Ms. O'Brien, thank you very much for all your work, and we applaud you.
Thank you so much. You know, I can't do this work in isolation. I have an incredible team. We have incredible community partners, and I'm very grateful for all their support. And Dr. Garcia, who, you know, I've said this before, and this is I'm going on my 27th year with the district, and never have we had leadership that said, we're going to put social emotional learning in our strategic plan. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And we still have work to do, right? We're not done. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Ms. O'Brien. Next, we have Kathleen Padilla, teacher at Gonzales Community School. Said Dr. Candace Flint, principal. Kathleen Padilla is an outstanding kindergarten teacher at Gonzales Community School. Ms. Padilla has taught at several grade levels, but her favorite grade is kindergarten. She is truly one of the kindest, most caring people you will ever meet. Her students and their families can attest to her loving nature. She enjoys seeing her students learn and grow over the course of the year, becoming more confident in their abilities to read and do math. When walking into her classroom, you're automatically struck with the calm, welcoming learning environment she's created. Her students are always actively engaged in their learning, dancing to math songs, participating in hands-on collaborative exploration of new concepts, or working in small reading groups. Ms. Padilla loves to play her ukulele and sing songs with her students. Beyond all of this, she's been an integral member of the school's leadership team, providing insight and creative ideas. Kathleen Padilla is an incredible asset to our Gonzales family and definitely deserves this award. And on a personal note, I ran into a Gonzales parent not too long ago who said, well, when your child has spent the year in Ms. Padilla's classroom, you walk out and everything is rainbows. And I thought that was a great way of seeing it. So Ms. Padilla, thank you so much for raising some of our youngest kids in the classroom, and we applaud you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be receiving an award for a job I love to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Paige Prescott, Executive Director and co-founder of the Computer Science Alliance and Executive Director of the Supercomputing Challenge. As President of the Computer Science Teachers Association of New Mexico, Ms. Prescott has been an invaluable partner in the district's computer science endeavors. In 2018, she applauded the Santa Fe Public Schools for being the first in the state to embrace computer science for all grade levels. And during the ETN election in 2019, she said in My View in the New Mexican, I feel strongly that computer science literacy is essential for all students. There is scarcely a career path that can be imagined, whether in business, medicine, the arts, government, or the sciences, where computers have not had a transformative effect. We're fortunate to have this world-class leadership in Santa Fe and in our district. Paige Prescott, we applaud you.
Hey, thank you so much. I really am honored, and I just am so thrilled to see all the amazing work that Santa Fe Public Schools has put into computer science education and continues to be a leader in New Mexico. And we had some great leadership with Board President Kate Noble with that the board resolution that really kickstarted the movement. And it's been a pleasure to see the teachers really embrace this as well, and the success of students across the board. So thank you, everyone, and keep up the great work.
Thank you very much. And it's worth saying Dr. Ryan, Dr. Garcia, and lots of members of the team, including the next honoree, have been really important in that resolution and in all of this work. So last but certainly not least of our Santa Fe Public School honorees is Dr. Neil Weaver, the Executive Director of Digital Learning. Through Dr. Weaver's guidance, the Santa Fe Public Schools maintain a future-ready network more secure and responsive to the needs of education. In addition, the district provides the technology needed to support best practice teaching and learning. He developed a digital learning coach team, which serves as a critical support in expanding the digital learning for staff and students. His goal is to create and develop a culture in which technology serves as a natural yet vital support for best practice teaching and learning. He's a national board certified teacher and a certified education technology leader. He also holds an MA in instructional technology and a PhD in education leadership. Dr. Weaver, we applaud you. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you. I'd also like to just quickly say I'm honored to receive this award, and like Ms. Devote and Ms. O'Brien said, the work we do is very team related, and I would like to accept this award on behalf of my team. Without the collaborative efforts that we put together for our students, we wouldn't be talking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let's do one other round of applause to all of our 9 honorees for Excellence in Student Achievements Award. Thank you so much. You are all examples of what makes this district work, and all you do for students and families does not go unnoticed. We so appreciate the many, many years you all have put into this district. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much to all our awardees. Congratulations. We love you. We appreciate you. If you want to obviously stay with us on the meeting, you are absolutely welcome. Otherwise, we know you work hard and we won't hold it against you if you're going to log off at any point. So we're moving on the agenda to item number 7, Superintendent, that's you, Dr. Garcia, Superintendent announcements and follow-up. You might have to unmute again.
Keep forgetting to unmute. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, and congratulations to all the New Mexico School Boards Association honorees, and thank you for the board for expanding beyond the 2 and recognizing more folks. I know you would love to recognize a lot more, but they truly are representative of the excellence that is the Santa Fe Public Schools. I couldn't be prouder, to be honest with you. Amazing people that we have working in our district. There are some items that I had to add, and that are not on the agenda, but I do want to mention that we've begun our pandemic planning. We know that the state has a task force and a survey, but we also have to start working and looking at what is nuanced in our district and to be prepared so that we can hit the ground running, just as we did in offering a remote learning program. We intend to get stakeholder input and involvement. I will be following up with the board on what information they would like to garner as we go through, just as, you know, in addition to the survey that was already conducted. But I just wanted our community to know that we are well on our way working with what we know today and planning for all the different scenarios of what we may be facing in August, but perhaps even in November or December. I'd like to just formally announce that the Consortium for School Networking, COSN, the Santa Fe Public Schools, received yet another award on May 21st. Dr. Neil Weaver, our Executive Director of Digital Learning, as well as Dr. Ryan and other staff, presented at the National Consortium for School Networking. The presentation was in relationship to the district being announced as the winner of the COSN's Community Leadership for Digital Equity. Again, that word equity that is so important to us. Santa Fe was honored for working to eliminate inequities and to narrow the access gap. The award recognizes the incredible collaborative work of our schools, teachers, and students, and our ability to maximize equity within the district. Again, this award wouldn't be possible without the support of the voters of Santa Fe County. Again, thank you for passing the ETNO. COSIN announced 7 award winners from across the country who are EdTech leaders shaping the future of America's schools. In addition to Santa Fe Public Schools, Senator Tom Udall was joined by Colorado Senator Cory Gardner and receiving the Excellence in Public Service Award. All were honored during the organization's annual conference, which was held virtually May 19th through the 21st. I want to inform the board and our community that we have completed a governmental service agreement with the New Mexico Human Services Department for Medicaid-related services. Under this GSA, HSD will reimburse the Santa Fe Public Schools administrative costs in an amount not to exceed $2 million for the Medicaid school-based service program. And that is very, very helpful to receive that support in terms of admin costs. They won't be that high, but just to get whatever support we can is amazing. The third round winners of the Superintendent's Challenge, you'll be seeing video later in the presentation. So if somebody can help me, so I don't forget, I will announce all of those winners towards the end, right before the video montage. Let me see here. The Santa Fe, okay, I just talked about the reentry group and what we're doing there. Let's see. Commencement exercises. We are excited to celebrate our class of 2020 graduates. Graduation videos are being finalized and celebrities of well-known New Mexicans are joining in for the virtual graduations. Videos will be shown the night before the diploma grab and go on Facebook and YouTube to introduce the graduates. Included will be 2 to 3 minute speeches. So I'm giving you a heads up and more detail to come. But from the board president, each school's principal, valedictorian, salutatorian, and then optionally the senior class mentor and teacher. And a picture slideshow will be shown featuring photos of each graduate. Each principal will read the graduate's name. The class flower will be on the lower right of each picture. Also shown will be photos of district and school-based staff. The class song will be featured. Yard signs and cords were distributed over the past 2 weeks. Should you see a yard sign for one of our graduates, wave or otherwise let them know that you are proud of them as you drive around the community. Should the governor's health orders change, we will plan traditional commencements either in June or at a future date. The diploma grab and go events are listed at the end of the agenda. But early college opportunities, Sunday, June 21st at 7 p.m. with diploma grab and go. On Monday, June 22nd at 9 a.m. The Academy at La de Guaite, the virtual will be Monday, June 22nd at 7 p.m. with diploma grab and go on Santa Fe High School campus on June 23rd. Mandela International Magnet School, Tuesday, June 23rd at 7 p.m. Diploma grab and go on Wednesday, June 24th at 4 p.m. Santa Fe High School, Wednesday, June 24th at 7 p.m. with the diploma grab and go on Thursday, June 25th. Capitol High School, Thursday, June 25th at 7 p.m. with the diploma grab and go on Friday, June 26th at 9 a.m. I want to ask Mr. Chavez, who has really worked so hard, and I want to commend all of our high school principals for their hard work in getting all this together. In terms of commencement and the virtual activities, Mr. Chavez, did I leave anything out that we?
No, you did not.
Did have a question for you. In terms of working with the board, will we be doing all the videotaping in advance?
We will. We will.
Okay.
We'll be working with Cody Donarski and David Carl on that.
So we'll be in touch with you, board members, and then Ms. Noble also to tape your message. And you'll be able to tailor it if you'd like for each high school. Athletics and activities. The New Mexico Activities Association Board of Directors passed a vote of 8-4 that during the summer of this summer, activities can begin on June 15th. I'd like Mr. Chavez to please share the highlights of that. Associate Superintendent Chavez.
Absolutely. Thank you. Board President Noble, members of the board. So June 15th is the proposed date of practice resuming on our facilities. However, we have to be able to follow all health and safety requirements. Secondly, we have to follow all guidelines and restrictions that the state would be in at that time. And so that's going to be very important to monitor as we continue to hear what the governor has to say. Some items of note: all coaches must have a negative COVID-19 test prior to the start date. Temperatures will be checked before and after practice. Pods of 5 to 1 will be allowed, no larger, and no cross participation between pods. Also, staggered times will have to be scheduled for arrival and departure. And lastly, all student athletes in grades 7 through 12 will automatically be eligible for athletics and activities to start the school year for the first 9 weeks due to the different practices of online learning and the districts offering different structures and grading techniques.
I also had in my notes, but you already heard, but again, we want to have a shout out to Michael Goudelet, who was featured in Ed Week in a May 11th blog. I also want to mention that the Santa Fe Public Schools was selected to submit a piece on our remote learning and lessons learned, which I wrote, and I will share with the board. We did share it with staff, but that was shared across the state of New Mexico with all the districts, district leadership. The Lanel Foundation 2020 Outreach Grant Award was received by the Santa Fe Public Schools. The Laboratory Foundation Board of Directors announced yesterday that it will award $5,000 in support of Santa Fe Public Schools Parent Academy. And also there's another part to that, and I guess it's for the volunteers that's missing in my notes, but congratulations. I think we received a total of $10,000 from the Lanel Foundation for our work in both areas. I also want to, before we go to the video montage, the board has an opportunity to be thinking about this when we get to advanced planning. It's that time of year again for my evaluation and then a renewal of contract. One date that I proposed for evaluation was June 11th, but the board needs to decide if that's when we were supposed to have a study session, and I think I can get it together by then, or whether the board would rather do it on another day. And then we do have a June 30th special board meeting planned to make pass any budget adjustment requests based on the legislative session. And at that time, if it's the board's pleasure, my contract, then there would be action on my contract. And at this time, I'd like to announce this is my last announcement, the third round winners of the Superintendent's Challenge. For pre-K, it was Andrea Aceves from Ramirez Thomas Freestyle Dance. Kindergarten, Maya and Aaron Salazar from Tesuque. For art, using recycled materials. First grade, Larkin Adele Michaels, Northfield. EJ Martinez, she created a board game. Second grade, Marija Gonzalez Garcia, Kearney, also freestyle diorama. Third grade, Haley Lucero, freestyle sewing. Fourth grade, Casey Brown, Amy Beal, create a game. Fifth grade, Ruwaida El Atwani, Pinon, a sculpture. Sixth grade, Elena Chamberlain, El Camino Real, freestyle cooking. Seventh grade, Caden Jackson Fisk Gonzalez, freestyle digital art. Eighth grade, Sandy Juarez Ortiz, freestyle engineering. Ninth grade, Sadie O'Sullivan, Mandela International Magnet School, freestyle musical performance. 10th grade, Pearl Mariano, Santa Fe High School, essay on overcoming adversity. 11th grade, Maddie Johnson, Santa Fe High School Freestyle Computer Modeling Architecture. 12th grade, Luis Rivera Barrera, Santa Fe High School. It was a drawing. And at this time, there'll be a short video montage, and I'm going to turn it over to David Carl.
Hello, board. Sorry, go ahead.
That will conclude my comments. Thank you.
So I will go ahead and get started with the end of the year video montage first, and then we'll follow that up with the Superintendent's Challenge third round winners video. Just one moment. Okay, can everybody see that? All right, here we go.
We don't seem to have sound.
No audio.
No audio? Okay, give me 1 second.
Do you want to start it over? Go ahead.
Yes, I will do that. Let's try this again. Let me know if you hear the music when I hit play. Can you hear it?
Yes.
I sure miss you guys. You're gonna love this.
I miss all your smiling faces.
What's this? I have to get this to our students. I miss them so much.
Asakia kids are the best.
One day, a young girl went walking through the bosque and into the mountains. It was a beautiful day. The young girl went walking through the fresh smells of the forest of wild grass and wildflowers, while listening to the beautiful sounds of the birds.
Dark brown is the river, golden is the sand. It flows along forever with trees on either hand.
Duty and determination. R is respect, responsibility, and resilience.
All right, that is the end of our end of the year video. And now let me pull up the Superintendent Challenge third round winners. Can you guys hear that? All right, here we go.
First you pick a player, then you roll the dice, and you only get to roll the dice one time. And then after you roll the dice, whichever number you get, like 3, you go 1, 2, 3, space. Called the quarantine workout game. When you roll the dice, how much you get, you walk, and then you do that exercise.
First class lever, second class lever, ramp, third class lever. Put it right here. And then with this right here, let's go. Hey, let's go.
Took the blueprints and live measurements of my house, and I created a model online using a 3D software.
And we will continue the Superintendent's Challenge through the summer. And it's really been quite popular. I think it's, and the creativity of the students, especially the freestyle section, has really just blown our minds with all the different things that young people are submitting. So thank you for supporting that personally. We greatly appreciate it. And I did leave out the extended learning program. We will have it in place beginning now through June 30th. And the program began yesterday and all has gone well. And thank you to Debbie Royale, our Chief Academic Strategist, who has led that program. So thank you all very much. And we are done.
Thank you very much, Dr. Garcia.
Could I ask a question, Madam President? Could I ask a question?
Dr. Gonzalez.
Dr. Garcia, and I just lost it. Extended learning, are they doing that? Are they doing it online, or are they in person or face-to-face, or what?
So right now, the program for now until it runs, I think it's 10 days, but it is online, it is remote. But Ms. Rael, can you just give them an idea of some of the things that are happening?
Dr. Garcia, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm having trouble getting on video, but I can certainly inform the board, President Noble, members of the board, and Superintendent Garcia. We are enlisting 11 schools in our district in the extended learning program that runs through June 12th. We have about 450 students registered right now. We have 24 teachers working the program. And unique to this summer is the involvement of some of our community partners in partnering with our teachers. We have partners like Meow Wolf and the Community Learning Network, Artworks, the Santa Fe Symphony, the Botanical Gardens, the George O'Keeffe Museum, the Museum of Art, that have all come forward and partnered with our teachers, multiple teachers actually, to provide an online summer program that we're calling Engage for 10. And it's really designed to focus on the arts, music, and computer science. And so we've been really encouraged by the participation and planning of our teachers and partners as we've begun this. It started yesterday.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments on the superintendent's announcements? All right, we will move on to item 8 on the agenda, presentations. And the first one is the 2018-2019 Santa Fe Public Schools graduation rates. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. We were very proud of our graduation rates, and we did talk about that in the announcement. We have a brief presentation today, and Dr. Suchin Sarangarm, our Chief Assessment for Learning and School Improvement Officer, and Assistant Superintendent Eladio Larry Chavez, Superintendent for Athletics Activities and School Support, will make this presentation. We'll stand for questions at the end of the presentation.
President Noble, member of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Garcia, it is my pleasure to present the 2018-19 high school graduation rate 4-year cohort, which is called the cohort of 2019. The cohort of 2019 started with 9th grade in 2015-16 and followed the same group of the students through 12th grade. The main question of the study is, what is the percentage of students graduating in this cohort? First, let's look at Santa Fe Public School 4-year graduation rate for the last 3 years compared to the goal for the graduation rate set in the district strategic plan for 2018-19 through 2022-23. The district achieved a graduation rate of 78%, far ahead of the strategic plan projection. The strategic plan set a goal of reaching a 78% graduation rate in 2022-23.
To be clear for the board, if I may, Dr. Sarangarm,
yes,
it's the strategic plan and the strategic plan goal that we had set to be at this rate by 22-23, but we have accelerated that growth, and we hope to continue to exceed what we had planned for in the strategic plan. Thank you, Dr. Sarangarm.
Thank you, Superintendent Dr. Garcia. We met the goal for 4 years ahead of schedule, and we are 5% higher than projected. Additionally, the Santa Fe Public School graduation rate is 3% higher than the state. The state graduation rate for 2018-19 is 75%, compared to the district rate is 78%. We are ahead of our own projections, and we are ahead of the state. Mr. Chavez gonna continue the presentation on the graduation rate for each school.
Board President Noble, members of the board, Superintendent Garcia. What we're looking at next are the high school and their graduation rates, as well as the district compared to the state for school year 18-19. The graduation rate for each high school in the district is higher than that of the state, with the exception of the academy. However, the academy did have a 33% growth from school year 17-18 to 18-19. If you see the one-year growth of the district from school year 17-18 to 18-19, you see a 5% growth rate, while the state had a growth percentage of 1%. A similar pattern is seen on the 5-year growth rate for the district from school year 14-15 to school years 18-19. The growth rate for Santa Fe Public Schools was 11% compared to the state's rate of 6%. As a note at the bottom, school year 18-19 graduation rate for Mandela was at 88%. Slide 5, the subgroup analysis show that all subgroups for the district are at a higher than the state, all but one subgroup, which was the Asian subgroup. Students with disabilities had a graduation rate of 68%, which was increased by 10% from the previous school year. Based on school year 18-19 40-day data, the 3-year growth rate for Gallup, Farmington, and Santa Fe are the highest among the districts of 10,000 students or more. Santa Fe had a growth rate of 9%.
Mr. Chavez, can we go back to the previous slide for a second? I think we know there you go. As we will continue to look at these subgroups, right? As we look at African American, as we look at Native American, what I wanted to tell you, but we don't have it. Yeah, we do. If you look at Native American, which is, I think, well, students with disabilities, right, was the lowest. But if we look at Native American students, we are exceeding the state average. I mean, where's the district-wide? Exceeding the state average. And if so, look at some of the schools they are. We are also, also for Hispanic students, and we look for African American students, we are far exceeding the average. But as we continue to look at this, and I don't know why in terms of Asian students that it would be a lower, but we need to take a look at that and see what's going on. Our English language learners were a little bit down there. And so we will analyze and look at and target and work with our team to try to address these opportunity gaps, because we want all of the subgroups, when we disaggregate the data, to be exceeding the state average. Thank you.
So in summary, as we move through, again, with the exception of the academy, Capital, Santa Fe High, and the district were higher than the state's graduation rate. The one-year growth, again, shows that the academy gained 33% between previous school years. Capital gained 5%, Santa Fe gained 2%, and the district had a 5% growth. The state, again, only averaged 1%. The 5-year trend for graduation rates and the district have increased in a positive direction. Again, this is a 5-year trend, so the academy had a 28% growth. Capital High has had a 12%. Santa Fe High has been at 7%, and the district has grown within that 5-year window 11%. The state's average is a 6% growth. The four-year cohort for Santa Fe Public School graduation rate currently is 78%. And as Dr. Sarangar mentioned earlier, the district target of 78% was about 3 years out. We thank you. We will stand for any questions.
I would like to add before we close that I want to recognize the high school principals. Carl Morano, Jamie Holliday, Randy Grillo, Michael Hagley, Ellis, Braden. I just want to thank them all and their supervisors, Christy Wagner, Linda Sink, Larry Chavez, the teachers, the staff, counselors, EAs, it just takes a whole village, right? And the community partnerships and the district support, and also thank the board, for your support. And I just couldn't be prouder of the hard work. And I believe that this next year it will be higher. We did have additional time, but I would venture that the approach that the Santa Fe Public Schools has taken and the tracking and partnership between the district and the state was, what would I say? The district and the state, the district and the schools rather, I think has been stronger than ever before. And I know that we're going to see the fruits of that hard work. So we're ready for questions.
Thank you very much. Somebody have a question? No. Yes, Dr. Gonzalez.
Well, first off, I'd like to congratulate the school district for this increase in graduation rate. I'd also like to know what was done to make that increase.
So, I mean, I would say it's a variety of things. One, having a very clear focus that we wanted to improve. The second year, we really worked on, I told the board we were going to see a dip because we upped the rigor. We also tightened up on credit recovery so that students knew that they had to buckle down, that you just couldn't, go in and, it was going to be a lot more rigorous and a lot better dealt with. And we did see a dip. We came in, we saw that little dip, and then it started to move up. I think that Ms. Sink worked very, when she was supervising the high schools, worked a lot with, in PLCs, with with ELA and math teachers. I think that made a huge difference. The principals worked really hard with their registrars as well. To ensure that, we're counting every credit, that we're really looking at those transcripts. I mean, it's basic stuff. It wasn't rocket science, but it's just really having an intentional focus on tracking. If you go to the high schools, you'll see where they have the names of kids and how many credits and who's online. And this year around, we had an even greater focus because of the remote learning program that we were in of a district and school partnership on tracking every kid on an Excel sheet and where they were and their credits and what they were going to need, and tracking what kids are going to need now to finish by June 19th. Mr. Chavez, Ms. Sink, Ms. Wagner, any of you want to add anything else? Also, I think the program at ECO has also been very amazing in supporting kids and at the academy as well. But you guys want to add anything, those of you that supervise high schools?
Yes, I'll go ahead and jump in here. So I think you hit a couple of key points. One, the professional learning communities. That was an emphasis on looking at the student data to find the gaps in learning and to inform reteaching of the standards. So I think that was very important. And I thought teaching and learning, along with the Deputy Superintendent Sink, did a great job of laying that foundation for us.
Ms. Sink, you want to add anything?
Well, I think that it was so much of all of us, as you just said. You and I have discussed too that Our dropout rates did not look good the year after we were here, and we made sure that people understood that if you're really going to work on what's happening in the classroom and instruction and make it real, if you will, even around Edgenuity and having teachers of record with Edgenuity, and they're not just doing the work without having to be regulated, if you will, and disciplined on what they're actually learning, you know, the grades are going to go down. And so people have stuck in there with us. And I really believe that what the grades the kids are getting now are true grades that represent the hard work that they've done, whether they're in Edgenuity or in a classroom. So I'm really proud of our students more than anything.
Yeah, Ms. Wagner, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I would just say that the systemic approach to tracking our graduates, looking at them as individuals, but also looking at entire classes of students well in advance of time to graduate, spending a lot of time and attention combing through the details and making sure that every kid is on track. And that really boils down to everyone paying attention, from the counselors to the school administration, to the teachers, to the school supervisor, data and accountability shop, to everyone. I mean, it's just a huge group effort to look at the kids and the cohorts of kids and make sure they're headed in the right direction.
And what we will do, as I said, you know, with Dr. Sarangarm's help, we'll really drill deep into the data and look at that subgroup disaggregation by school. And then we'll pull in the CNI team and, you know, look at where are the supports, where are the gaps, how can we close those gaps to, you know, all boats rise, right? And continue on that improvement. But I think also we're very data driven, but I have to tell you, it's also the leadership in those high schools and the staffs there that are on the ground every day with those kids. So it really is a team effort. It really is a district and school side-based team effort. But again, couldn't be prouder that we've made that kind of growth and exceeding. It's hard to move, and Dr. Sarangarm can talk to this, it's hard statistically to move large data sets like that. And so this is significant growth. We're just really, really proud. It far exceeded when we got the data and it was still embargoed. We were just going crazy. We were so excited. I know we're really nerdy about our statistics. We're like, oh my God. And I don't think the general public really gets it. I think, you know, like Carmen, you probably know, like SAT, when they go up a half a point, right? Or, you know, it's like a big deal to move large data sets. And so, you know, anyway, we're super excited about it and very proud. And it means great things for our kids. You know, you graduate from high school just right off the bat. It has an impact on your longevity, your health outcomes. I mean, it's the real deal. It's very important. And moving on, but graduating from high school is so critical in their quality of life. And I'm just so proud and happy for those kids. And we just gotta keep improving.
Well, thank you all very much. I'm just so impressed with what you all have done. It is impressive. Thank you.
Vice President Price, did you want to comment?
No.
Okay. Well, I want to say congratulations. It is immensely impressive. This is frankly beyond what I thought was possible when we were sort of resetting the baseline a couple of years ago, and Dr. Garcia said, we're going to see a dip, but then we'll have better data and we'll know what's going on. And, you know, I saw the press release, I saw the announcement, but to unpack it in the presentation is really to understand how deep and wide and impressive this achievement is. So I want to say thank you to everybody who's here on this call for all the hard work and what you've done. And it's just so incredibly difficult to move a big system, and you're doing it. And this is, you know, to the benefit of our students and our families and community. And it's really amazing to see. And you know, we talked a little bit about at the beginning of the meeting, you know, some of the issues and perhaps even strategic and systematic dismantling of public education. But when you see numbers like this, it's like it restores good faith and belief that we can do this. We can do this with a big, diverse district. And it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of stick with itness. And thank you to everybody in the district, to this team, to you, Dr. Garcia. This is just really incredible and very impressive. And the whole community is appreciative, I promise you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody. It's totally a team effort. And thank you to the board for, you know, your support of what we try to do. We really appreciate you.
Okay, good stuff. Shall we move on? Anything else from board members? All right, the next presentation, item B, 8B, the Facilities Master Plan Demographics Study. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I'm going to turn this over to Deputy Superintendent Christianda Wagner, who will introduce the presenters.
Thank you, Superintendent, Board President Noble, board members. This evening, Gabe Romero, our Executive Director of Operations, Facilities, and Capital Planning, will be introducing our presenter for the evening. He's been tasked with completing our facility master plan for the 2021 GO bond. And so he's going to introduce where we're at in the process and how this presentation relates to the work. Mr. Romero.
Thank you, Ms. Wagner. Also, Board President, board members, and Superintendent. This evening, we're bringing to you a portion of this process. If you'll recall, a few weeks back, we had a presentation regarding the facility master plan. This is required by the state. Also required by the state is a demographic study to give some context into some of the decisions we'll be making later on in this process as far as priorities, prioritization, and where and if we want new schools to be considered. So we've hired architectural research consultants to help us with this work. This evening, I'm seeing Aline O'Byrne is present with us. I'm not sure if Liza was able to join us. Will you be conducting the presentation, Aline?
Gabe, I'm here. I'm here. This is Liza Miller. I'm here.
Okay. Thank you. Liza Miller will be helping us, and she'll be presenting the demographic study as part of the facility master plan project. So with that, Liza, if you're ready to proceed, I do believe that we'll be running the screen for you, or are you going to share your screen?
It's up to you. Do you want to run the screen or shall I share mine?
Let's see if we can bring it up. Is that Alma or Tom who's running the presentation, who's running the show this evening?
No, you're supposed to run it.
Okay, then I'll ask Liza to share her screen with us, please.
Okay. Forgive me, this is the first time I've done this, so it might take me just a second.
No worries, take your time. We're all very used to technical glitches by now. We just roll with them.
Okay, can you see what I'm showing you here?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so my name is Liza Miller. I work with architectural research consultants. I'm a community planner, and my role in this project is as your demographics analyst. Aline O'Byrne, the project manager, is also on the call. If you have any questions, we can refer to her about the greater project. But tonight, I'm going to give you an overview of our demographics findings so that you'll have context in understanding what your enrollment projections are going to look like. And so, unless you have any questions to begin with, I'll go ahead and start the presentation. Okay. So first, I'll just give you an overview of each topic. What I do as a demographer in these school projects is I look at employment factors, the economic factors, I look at housing factors, and I look at population factors, which are really the most important. So I'm going to go over those 3 topics, and at the beginning of each topic, I'll give you an overview of kind of the main points of the topic, and then we'll dive a little bit closer into each of those points, and then we'll move on to the next topic. So first up, we can look at employment factors. Now, ARC has been working for Santa Fe Public Schools for a very long time. So we have a history of analyzing the economic, housing, and demographic trends in the area. And I just want to go over a little bit of what was happening in our analysis before kind of April, employment trends were mainly positive in Santa Fe all the way through 2008. And then like most places, they declined with the national economic downturn in 2008. Since then, total employment has grown a little, even though the state was shedding jobs. This was mostly due to private sector growth, and particularly in the health and social assistance areas. And more recently, some startup businesses were expanding or had significant potential to grow. This is before April. Now, current conditions are producing really an environment of unknowns, except for the fact that we expect this to be a long and difficult economic road ahead. So there's really a lot of our economic projections have been thrown into question. And now to dive into each one of those points just a little bit. This is New Mexico's employment trends from 2001 to 2018. And you can see our employment was going up. This is statewide. Up until about 2008 when the recession hit. And then they dipped and they were climbing very slowly back up. We only really started to see significant upturn in 2017, 2018. And again, those numbers are going to be thrown into question based on how we recover from this latest upheaval. And this is kind of what the latest upheaval looks like so far in New Mexico. Unemployment had already begun to spike over 6% from February to March 2020, and unemployment continues to climb through April and May this year. So we're really going to see significant declines in those state employment numbers, and it's still under question how we're going to recover, how well the recovery is going to be, and how long it'll take. On top of that, tax and market revenues will be deeply hit across the country. And especially in New Mexico, where state revenue and employment has been derived significantly from oil and gas markets, this hit's going to be felt even deeper. As most of you know, oil and gas prices plummeted in April, and that's resulted in the number of active rigs declining significantly. And from what our research has shown us, this is a little bit more than just the regular boom and bust trends that the oil and gas market in New Mexico has experienced. We're seeing long-term market players saying that this is something more, and it's going to fundamentally change the game of oil and gas in New Mexico. So in terms of projections for employment in the economy, in 2017, the UNM Bieber developed a series of 3 different projections. All of them had employment going up significantly during 2020. And as we all know, that did not pan out. And so the simple fact is, there's too much uncertainty right now that reliable analysis isn't really possible in terms of the economy. However, other aspects that drive enrollment numbers are pretty reliable, and we'll go into those a little bit more later. So housing development is also a big player in enrollment. And just the major points in housing starts boomed most of the period of 1999 to 2006, and then again with the recession began to drop. We did see a little bit of recovery in 2016, 2017. Growth in student yield analysis, that means us looking at where growth is happening and how many students are coming out of each new development over the last decade, show a movement of students within the district. That is from east to west. You're getting more students in the west now than you used to have in the east, but there has not been a net increase of student population in the district. So there has been growth, but there has not been a net increase of student population. And in terms of what's happening now since April, the construction industry was not shut down as a result of social health measures, but still housing starts were way down. In January to March, we had an average of 50 housing permits per month. In April, we had about 20. So that's more than half fewer than we had for the rest of the year. So we expect to see housing starts go down as a result of what's happening now. Here's just kind of an overview of residential housing growth in Santa Fe, in the urban area. We had over 1,000 additional units per year from 2001 to 2007, but then that recession hit and it just kind of demolished those numbers. You can see there in 2009, we've got very few new housing starts. They were starting to go up between 2013 and 2017. But like I said, we expect that number to go down based on what we've seen with the April numbers. And I would like to point out that due to Santa Fe's demographics, most of those housing units are in the higher price range or they're apartments, and those apartment units are not likely to house families with school-age children. So you're going to have very low student yields coming out of even those new developments that are happening. So because Santa Fe has a higher income demographic and a higher age group demographic, Santa Fe has lower student yields, which means how many children per household you get out of each development. So the graph you're looking at now shows how many students per housing unit come out of each of these different subdivisions in Santa Fe. And you can see the highest there, La Pradera. You're getting 0.38 students per housing unit. That's the highest of this particular group of housing developments, compared to in Rio Rancho schools, where you get 0.6 students per household. So Santa Fe gets fewer students per new housing unit, is the takeaway on that. And here's that kind of outlined, the difference in student yield versus the baseline price of the housing units developed. If you're looking at housing units that come in under 200,000, you're getting 33 students per 100 homes. And there are not many housing developments in Santa Fe where homes come in under $200,000, I think we all know. Whereas compared to housing units that start at 400,000 to 600,000, you get 7 students per 100 homes. So the point here is that even if development were to continue at pace before April or increase, the district would still see few students as a result of new development. And just to make the case of where your students are, these 3 maps show student locations from 1995, that first on the left, to 2017 on the right. You can see in 1995, there were a significant amount of students in the central part of the city, in the eastern part of the city. And as time progressed, you can see those students are moving further and further towards the west and south. So in the southwestern part of the city where there is new development, we're still seeing very small student yields. So this is just kind of an overview of our on-the-ground analysis, coupled with student yield analysis that shows that really we project very little to no new student growth from in-migration. So students are moving, but you're not getting new net students overall, even though there is new development. possibly the most important player in enrollment is population factors, including population projections, births, and birth rates. And this is really what's going to determine enrollment in the future for Santa Fe Public Schools. This is showing you population projections by county from UNM. These projections were developed in 2017. The top line is population projections for the state, and the bottom blue line there is for Santa Fe County. And this is compared with actual estimates from the census. So in 2018, UNM had projected that the state would grow to 2,187,000, but US Census estimates in 2018 put it well below that, about 100,000 below that for the state overall. Pardon me. Ken. But, sorry, excuse me. Ken. I apologize. So projections for Santa Fe County put us at, from UNM, had the county at 151,000, almost 152,000, but census estimates are well below that. So the point here is that the UNM population projections are probably high, and we should expect that actual growth will be lower. Looking at birth rates, there's a national and state trend downward significantly. And this is probably the one that matters the most. State, national, and Santa Fe County birth rates have fallen. Santa Fe County has fallen almost by half, from 14.6 in 1990 to 7.9 in 2018. And this is well below both state and national averages. So the implication here is that even if your population grows, there will be fewer children. Birth rate is defined as total births per 1,000 residents. So that means even if you have an additional 1,000 new residents, you're still only going to get 7.9 new kids out of that new population growth. And this is illustrated here, where you can see the birth rate is declining. The number, sorry, not the birth rate, the number of total births is declining even as the population has grown in Santa Fe from 2008 to 2018. So what this means is you're going to have fewer children, even if you do have population growth. And here is showing that how important births are in terms of kindergarten enrollment. So this is showing Santa Fe Public School kindergarten enrollment in black compared to Santa Fe area births 5 years prior in yellow there. And you can see there's a really direct relationship between births, actual births, and enrollment. So what this tells us is that the major component dictating enrollment is going to be births, which is correlated to birth rate. And so that even above economy and housing is going to be the major indicator for future enrollment. That in mind, we should be cognizant of what projections expect to happen in terms of population growth. So these are showing again those 2017 UNM projections for the county broken out by age group. And across the 20 years from 2020 to 2040, Santa Fe County is projected to grow by just over 2,000 school-age kids, and that's across those whole 20 years. And taking into consideration the fact that we expect that those projections are high based on current US Census estimates. So birth rate, as I said, defined by the number of births per 1,000 population, continues to sharply decline and is even lower than state and national averages. Declining birth rate will mean low enrollment numbers for many years into the future, because you have that first cohort of that first small cohort due to low birth rates, and that small cohort follows through all 12 years on into graduation. So a small cohort of births will mean small class numbers across the whole 12 years. So while the population of Santa Fe is projected to continue to grow into 2040, that growth is going to be pretty small, and at the most we can expect 2,000 overall across those 2 decades new students. So the bottom line is that enrollment projections were already pointing downward before April 2020. And though the state economy was looking up, oil prices have plummeted, unemployment is skyrocketing, and those projections and outlooks are no longer applicable. Most important driver to enrollment is the number of births and birth rates. Both are plunging down even before 2020. And considering the economic cratering, social isolation, and stress resulting from the pandemic, and now even more with the social unrest, we expect little in migration and significantly fewer births. And so we project that this will mean even lower enrollment projections for years to come. So on that happy note, I will open it up for questions.
Thank you very much. Questions from the board?
Madam President, if I may, before you do questions, just for context, so the board has a sense, because we have new board members.
Please,
Gabe,
Dr.
can you
Garcia.
Thank you. Mr. Romero, can you very quickly just give the board an overview of context? Like, first comes a demographic study, then comes the next piece, and then the next piece, before we pull it all together and then have a joint meeting with the CRC. Can you just tell them the next components that are coming up after the demographic study?
Surely. So what we're doing right now is conducting inspections of each and every site across the district to get real-time views of the condition of the facilities that we have within the district, documenting those and doing a very in-depth report on each facility we have within the district. At the same time, parallel to that, we were conducting this demographic study to make sure that we have context when we get to the portion a little bit later, after we do all the facilities and make sure that we have an in-depth study of every site we have within the district. We can come together at the end and start prioritizing these projects. So what you'll be seeing as a board in the coming latter half of the year are presentations of the school conditions. We'll do those in tiers. Tier 1 are the schools in most need. Tier 2 are middle of the road, and Tier 3 are generally those that are in a little bit better condition, and our administrative buildings too go along with that. So this gives you some context to think about as we move forward looking at the conditions of the school. At the very end, we'll have a very complete report, a facility master plan report that is several large volumes of information. And with that, the Citizens Review Committee will do a lot of the hard work on going through those volumes of information and making recommendations to the board about prioritizations of what we would like to do with our general obligation bond that will be going out to the community to ask for in 2021.
Any other comments, Dr. Garcia? Or?
No, I don't know. There's somebody raising their hand, but I don't know if she's part of the presentation.
Yes, this is Aline O'Byrne. I'm actually a project manager for the facility master plan. And the other thing that will go along with that is utilization and capacity studies for each of your schools. So it's a combination of how many students are we going to get, how well are we using our schools, as well as what conditions of the schools are going to be that need to be then melded together to make those final decisions of where the district wants to go with their overall vision of where they want their facilities to go to support your educational programs, with that reality check of where are our student populations going.
And Madam President, one other thing just to clarify, especially particularly for our new board members, this is a process that is required of all school districts. They have to follow a very prescribed plan as part of going out for a GO bond election. And then we always have far more need than we have money. Because there are safety and health issues as well as then replacing facilities. And I think one of the things that's going to come up that has, at least since I've been here, has not been a big point. And perhaps what we've learned from the pandemic of how we utilize offices and people being able to work remotely, we have two facilities, BF Young in particular, that is very, very old and has significant issues. And then we're finding, even though it looks good, the ESC, if you remember all the sewage issues that we've had, is also an aging facility that has significant issues. And I think, as rightly so, what is prioritized based on what we need are the school sites. But over decades, right, of pushing school sites and patching, district sites and patching them up a little bit and putting school sites forward, these other facilities are becoming unhealthy buildings to some degree. And I'm using that term loosely, but they're having difficulty with them. And so we'll have to look at how our COVID-19 experience with remote learning, how that can help bridge some time in terms of district employees having to utilize technology, perhaps if we can't always be in buildings or utilize all the buildings, might want to be a feature. But they'll look at, as Mr. Romero said, I'll give you a doctorate, Mr. Romero, that we're looking at all facilities, not just every year. You have to look at all your facilities, not just the school sites. And so the board will also have an opportunity in that joint meeting with the CRC to also inform them of your ways that you would like them to look at this data or other angles or approaches that you would like considered as adjunct to what is being done.
Thank you. Other questions from the board? Okay, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you for your time tonight.
We'll be talking more. All right, we'll move on to the action items on the agenda. We have the budget adjustment requests, the contracts over $50,000, as well as the approval of minutes from May 14th, 2020. I'm just trying to remember if everybody was around on May 14th, 2020. I think we've lost Secretary Garcia, who it seems is in transit. Is that correct, Secretary Garcia? You're not with us, are you? Okay. Anybody have any questions on the consent agenda? Otherwise, we could have a motion.
This is Sarah. I move to approve the consent agenda as it is.
I second it. This is Carmen.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Vice President Price.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Nothing. What are you doing?
We've got somebody who's not muted. If you could mute yourself as we take votes, particularly, but probably all the time if you're not speaking to the board. Okay, Vice President Price voted. Secretary Garcia. think we lost him around 6:30, actually, about an hour ago, if we need to record that in the minutes. Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Board Member Bozay,
Yes.
and the president votes yes. We've approved the consent agenda. Okay, on to item B on the action agenda, Fine Arts Education Act Renewal Application. Dr. Garcia. You're muted. That button.
I keep forgetting that I mute. Usually when I'm leading meetings, I don't unmute myself. Sorry about that, Madam President, members of the board. The Fine Arts Education Act, we have to annually submit an application, even though we get funding through the state equalization guarantee. It is still a grant process, and the money allocated based on units is then divided up across the state. As I mentioned, that we received less funding this year than we had in previous years. But Ms. Christina Gonzalez is available. Should the board have any specific questions, I recommend approval.
Thank you very much. Questions from the board? If not, perhaps a motion?
I move to approve.
Thank you, Vice President Price. Is there a second?
I second. This is Sarah.
Thank you, Dr. Bozay. Oh, wait. We do like that Dr. Garcia has made everybody a doctor tonight. She's been giving out doctorates. Okay, we have a second from Board Member Bozay. We'll do a roll call vote. Board Member Bozay.
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez. You were muted. Let's get your audible reply.
Yes.
Thank you. Vice President Price.
Yes.
And the president votes yes. Thank you very much. Moving on to action item C, Resolution 2021-1, Open Meetings Act. Dr. Garcia, you're muted. Oh, there we go.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. This is also an annual act that you all do every year to state your resolution and how you will be in compliance. Our General Counsel, Josh Granata, is available. Should you have any questions, I recommend approval.
Thank you very much. Questions from the board? I'll move for approval on this one.
I'll second, Ms. Carmen.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. We'll do a roll call vote. Vice President Price.
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Board Member Bozay.
Yes.
And the president votes yes. Thank you very much. Moving on to action item D. We heard about this a little bit from NEA Union President Grace Mayer earlier. We have the 2019-2020 NEA Santa Fe Collective Bargaining Agreement Amendment. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. When we received additional funding, when the SCG was adjusted, the unit value was adjusted rather, in the 1920 fiscal year, this fiscal year's budget, we did go into negotiations with NEA. I would like to thank Ms. Sink, who is the lead negotiator for the district, and Ms. Mayer, who is the president of NEA Santa Fe, coming to an agreement. I will turn it over to them if they would like to make comments about it and share with you the highlights, and I recommend approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sink, do you want to comment? Doesn't sound that way, unless she's having trouble unmuting. Oh, there you are. Okay, go ahead.
We've discussed this before. I think I'll leave it to Grace at this point.
I was just scrolling through. I'm not sure she's on anymore. Ms. Mayer, are you still with us? I don't think so.
And Ms. Sink, you may need to just do that because for the record and the public.
Yes, ma'am.
And I can help if you need any.
Yes, I just want to add a couple of things. First of all, we're excited to add to the National Board Certified Teaching group that have been getting the stipend for having that certification, which is a very difficult certification to obtain, by the way, that we are adding school nurses and some counselors to that group. So we're excited for that. And then the other one is a premium pay, sometimes called a hazard pay, for the student nutrition workers and also custodians and others, facility workers, for having to do more than 6 shifts during the 2 to 3 weeks well, actually it became more weeks, but beginning in the middle of March, having to literally be out face to face with people, delivering food, etc., cleaning schools. So we did agree that these employees did deserve the hazard pay, and there at the end of the day ended up being 164 of those employees getting $500. So I felt this was very fair and agreed to do this with the NEA president in negotiations.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board? I want to thank Ms. Sink, Ms. Mayer, and everybody who supported them in doing this. And I don't want us to take for granted now that we have really good working relationship with our unions, NEA Santa Fe being the largest. When I got on the board, it was a little bit different, and just want to recognize how much progress has been made, in large part because of the hard work of Ms. Sink and Ms. Mayer, and supported by the folks at the district and at the NEA. So thank you very much, and it certainly feels good to be able to offer what is right, some hazard pay to these key staff members. So thank you. Is there a motion? Who wants to make a motion on this one?
I move.
I move for approval.
Okay.
Dr. Gonzalez, do you want a second?
Second.
Okay, motion from Vice President Price, a second from Dr. Gonzalez. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Board Member Bozay.
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Just double checking if Secretary Garcia is here. Nope. Vice President Price.
Yes.
And the president votes yes. Thank you very much. Moving on to action item E, the 2019-2020 NEA Santa Fe and Santa Fe Federation of School Employees Joint Memorandum of Agreement. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. It's a little bit different. This is, again, looking at for the 1920 adjustment to the state equalization guarantee for the Santa Fe Public Schools. As per the CBA, there was, we negotiate with NEA. NEA worked out an agreement with Ms. Sink, and there was a recommendation that we include the Santa Fe Federation of School Employees in this joint memorandum of agreement. Deputy Superintendent Wagner then worked with the president of the Santa Fe Federation of School Employees, and all 3 entities have come to agreement. And again, Ms. Sink or Ms. Wagner and Ms. Mayer, if they have any comment, I recommend approval.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. Ms. Sink, Ms. Yonda Wagner, do you want to comment?
I just want to say on behalf of our departments and department directors, how grateful we are for our employees stepping up during this very important time and coming to work when we need them for what we need to do to serve our kids in our community, even when we're not in schools physically. There's still a lot of work to do, and I couldn't be more proud of our employees. in the maintenance shop, custodial areas, student nutrition, and transportation.
Absolutely. Want to echo that. Thank you, Ms. Yonda Wagner. Anybody else? We ready for a motion? Thank you for all the work on this agreement. Go ahead, Dr. Gonzalez.
I move approval.
Thank you.
This is Sarah. I second that.
Okay, motion from Dr. Gonzalez, second from Board Member Bozay. Vice President Price.
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Board Member Bozay.
Yes.
And the President votes yes. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to item 10, board discussion and possible action. This is really just a reminder that for our new fiscal year starting July 1, fiscal year 2021, we need to either make new or renew board committee appointments at the last board meeting in June. That's for both the Audit Committee and the Citizens Review Committee. Generally, what has worked, and I believe what has become practice, is to check in with your representatives, whom Ms. Bahar can help us with if there's any doubt, and if you want them to continue to serve, to ask them if they are willing, and then to reappoint them. And otherwise, I had somebody step off of the Audit Committee last year, and then we need to go find, I wanted her to continue, but I'm very pleased with the new representative that I have. So that's our job, to find folks to serve on the Audit Committee and the Citizens Review Committee.
Madam President,
Dr. Garcia, please.
Yeah, there's also one other option, and that is if they have someone that they, even though the person might want to continue that's on there, if they have, sometimes you might have someone that you wanted to appoint, and that is your prerogative as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And apologies if that's not clear. You can ask people to continue as board members, as your representatives on these committees. Otherwise, it is your prerogative to get someone new, and thank the current or the terms, the members serving to the end of their term, thank them for their service. And we can always talk to Dr. Garcia about how to do that. It's always nice to thank people because, of course, they serve without compensation or glory on these committees.
So that we can recognize them at that board meeting, if in fact you're going to do that, as President Noble said, because they do, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Any questions, comments about that? Okay, we all have a little work to do to check in or get new members. Also on board, for really this is advanced planning, item 11. Dr. Garcia mentioned this, but we do need, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yeah, I just wanted to note that Partners in Education, I don't know if you saw this insert on Sunday. Well, it wasn't an insert, it's the, anyway. Annually, they usually award 7 teachers that inspire. And because of the pandemic this year, they didn't do that. So instead, they listed every single teacher, administrator, and support staff that is in the school. So it was actually front and back. Pretty impressive.
That's wonderful. I hadn't seen that because I get the paper online and it didn't appear in any fashion. I'm very glad to know. Thank you for showing that.
Yeah, it's that they put it on the front page, and it wraps around the front of the.
Yeah.
So it's pretty nice.
Oh, that's wonderful. Please give our thanks to the folks at Partners in Ed, all the work they do.
And they got some support because it was a little expensive, but they got some partners to help support that. PNM and State Employees Credit Union, and what's this other one? First National. So
Excellent. Very glad to see that. Thank you. Okay, on to advanced planning. As I was saying, Dr. Garcia mentioned this, but what we were looking at, and she and I have discussed, and will be in touch about the process, but is taking that 4 to 6 p.m. study session. We might need a little bit longer, but starting at 4 p.m. on June 11th to do the superintendent's evaluation and work on her contract so that we could then take action before the end of the fiscal year. Now we are a year ahead on the contract, so Dr. Garcia is in place for the next school year. But we like to look a year ahead and make sure that we are updating and staying current on our thinking and communication around the superintendent for the district. Does that work for board members? And are there any questions, comments at this time?
So June 11th would be the superintendent's evaluation?
That's correct. In place of the study session.
Okay, and that would be from 4 to 6, and that would be an executive session, right?
Yes, we would need to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters, obviously.
Yes. That's fine with me.
Okay, great. Looks like Dr. Gonzalez nodded. Sarah's nodding. Just checking. Secretary Garcia, if you've joined us. No? Okay. All right, so that will be the plan. And we will be in touch. I'm going to talk with our board attorney, Tony Ortiz, about the process. This will be at least my third exercise in this, and Dr. Garcia and I have some ideas as to how to do it better. So we will be bringing an improved process for the superintendent's evaluation for this particular evaluation on June 11th. Anything else on advanced planning? Dr. Garcia, or do we think we're going to need this June 16th special board meeting to approve ETN sale and update results of the general obligation bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We will. What I need to check, Josh, I'm hoping that Josh is still on. I just need to ask Josh, but we can announce it. I think that the study session, we would still have to, we would meet and then we would go into executive. I think we can do it off of a study session. I don't know if we have to list it as a special board meeting. So I will check with Mr. Granada, and it will be announced appropriately either as a special meeting or as a study session, but it'll be noted in your minutes.
Okay. So we will meet in some form on June 11th, and then we will have this special meeting on June 16th. And we'll work on, we'll be clear on the
What is the
times
meeting?
about that.
What is the meeting for the 16th?
I need to clarify that there's two meetings on the 16th. You have your regular board meeting, but then we're starting early. Ms. Price,
Oh,
we
I
have
see.
a special meeting for the ETN bond sale.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. But the next meeting is on the 11th, right?
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay, okay.
So the 11th at 4, the 16th, we will be communicating on the time for that, for the special
Okay.
meeting, whether we need executive session. And then we will talk about whether there will be additional study sessions and meetings. We think we will.
Well, we have to do June the 30th, don't we?
We will for the superintendent's contract, at least, very likely at that point.
Well, not just the contract, but also for the, isn't that when we have to have the budget?
Yes, we might have to adjust the budget depending on the outcome of the special session on June 30th. You're correct. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
And is the budget due tomorrow?
The budget, Madam President, the budget has been approved. We would be doing bars, budget adjustment requests based on what happens at the legislative session. And if there are any changes that the PED gets us feedback on what we put in the budget for the CARES Act.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on advanced planning? And thank you, Dr. Garcia and Ruth and Alma and anybody else who's involved in keeping us communicating and honest and understanding all the different links and numbers we need to do these meetings. It's much appreciated.
Yes.
Madam President, Dr. Garcia, I really appreciated Alma sending the links right before this meeting, because I'm looking back through all my email trying to find them, and it's just nicer to get it right at the end, right close to the meeting.
We're trying to, Madam President, to make it a little bit easier for all of us to find it. So she'll send it out early just so you can get it on your calendar, but then I'm asking her to send it out day of for you to have it, even in the afternoon, so it's up high in your email.
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you. Anything else? All right. Well, this was a little bit of a long one, but we are now adjourned. Thank you all very much. And we'll see you on June 11th and likely be in touch before then.
Madam President?
Yes, Vice President Price.
Would you please call me offline?
Yes, happy to.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.